The pretty little Episcopal of the Trinity was um, was the scene at high noon today of one of the most notable marriages of the century. Within its ivy and jasmine covered walls were congregated the very essence of the wealth and aristocracy of the metropolises of the country. The bride of the occasion, Miss Adele Sloane, is the daughter of William D. Sloane, who married a daughter of the late William H. Vanderbilt, while the groom, James A. Burton Jr., is himself a young Croesus, the millions of the family having been made in the great ironworks on the Hudson. It was essentially a Vanderbilt wedding, and such a gathering of the clans of that house as have never occurred before and may never occur again. Never occur again. Sitting on velvet cushions in the front pews when the soft notes of the Lohengrin wedding march began to issue from the stately organ were Cornelius Vanderbilt, his brothers Fred and George, the members of the Mackay Twombly family, Dr. Seward Webb, Mrs. Elliot F. Shepherd, widow of the late publisher and journalist, Mrs. William H. Vanderbilt, grandmother of the bride, and the richest American widow, Mr. and Mrs. Orne Wilson, Mrs. John Jacob Astor, Moses Taylor, a matrimonial catch whose possessions are said to foot up some 40 millions, Robert Goelet, who is worth 25 million more, Mr. and Mrs. Eldridge Geary Ogden Goelet, a particular American chum of the Prince of Wales, and the father and mother of the groom, and some 400 other of invited guests, each of whom count their wealth by the million. It is a safe estimate that more than 1,000 millions of good American dollars were represented in the sacred edifice when the young couple lined up before the flower-bedecked altar, and Reverend Dr. William Grosvenor, the rector of Lenox, commenced to read the impressive marriage service of the church. The women of the party were magnificently gowned, the bright colors of their costumes and adornments contrasting in bold relief with the immaculate linen and broadcloth of their male escorts, and appropriate setting to the scene of brilliancy being furnished by the sun, which peeped in softly through the stained. Let me go right up to the top. Hopefully, finish this. A brilliant sun softly through the stained glass windows. The bride and groom were attended respectively by their parents. Little Harold S. Vanderbilt officiated as a page. Moses Taylor and Columbus C. Baldwin did service as ushers. Frederick Bayard Winthrop was his element as best man, while the bridesmaids were the Misses Gertrude Vanderbilt, Edith Minturn, Amy Bede, and Annie Cameron. After the words were pronounced which made the couple man and wife, they left the edifice to the strains of Mendelssohn's March. 400 covers were laid for the wedding breakfast, at which the long life and happiness of the young couple were pledged in bumpers of champagne. I'm going to pause for just a moment.